How would you describe your management style?
Well, I think over the years it has it's certainly changed. Uh, I remember before I took this post, Jerry laughed at me a little bit because I said I have 265 days already mapped out as to what I'd like to do. I like to plan and be ahead of the curve. It was pretty rigid, and over the years I've gained more comfort with my staff, more familiarity of the things that they bring to the table, and so I'm a lot more flexible, and I understand I don't have to work myself into the ground. That's actually a detriment to getting the job done, as opposed to sometimes getting outside of yourself and your environment to think. It's very important. If I've learned anything over the last 11 years is that you have to sometimes take a step back from the everyday grind to think.
What would be a circumstance or situation that would kind of cause you to step back and think, to take kind of a minute? And how often does that happen during the course of a season?
Before we make any player move, and this may go back to my experiences as a player and sitting in that chair, that is not just that player that you're affecting their career. There's a family behind that player, and often it might be, an extended family beyond that player. So whenever you're considering making a move with a particular player, coach, manager, whatever, you've got to make darn sure that it's the right thing to do and you're doing it for the right reasons. And so that's a reason to pause before you make any sort of a trade. You've got to get by yourself, or you make a big free agent push for someone. Yeah, there's reason to pause a lot in this job.
You said you're an emotional guy. How have those emotions played into your style, and have you found yourself having to temper them at various points during your tenure here?
I suppose there are those that would say that I've been a little intense over the years, and maybe too emotional at times, too protective of the organization, and people from the outside maybe trying to throw darts at the organization. But if I'm not going to be protective of it, who is? And if I don't start with a level of intensity, and again, along with that expectation, raising that expectation, who is going to establish the tone of where we want to be? Now, I've had to temper that and learn to temper that in order to navigate through all the peripheral things sometimes that hit you in the face. But to a large degree, that's never going to change. But to a large degree, learning to understand from a health perspective and a sleep perspective, to temper that from time to time certainly has been valuable.